In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how to get your art business started from zero, from ground up, step by step, and how to keep it in business. So let's get started. Number one, you need a home-based art studio. So you need to create a small art studio in the corner of your room, in the corner of your living room, in your basement, in your kitchen, wherever you can kind of like transform a space and turn it into a homemade art studio. Do it. That's what you need to do, right? We want to build an art business from scratch, and this is how we're going to do it. So first, homemade art studio. That's what we got to start with. So focus on that. Get a small table, and then transform a space, and then turn that space into a homemade art studio. So that's number one, okay? Number two, you're gonna invest a little bit of money. It could be $100, $200, $300, $400, $500. So if you do have a job, don't quit your job. Don't listen to these guys talking about full-time art career, full-time art business and all that stuff. Just stay focused. Hold on to your job, save a little bit of money, get some art supplies. So number one, we have a space in-house, right, that we're going to turn into an art studio. Number two, we spend money on some supplies. You get some fabric paint, some acrylic, not oil. Oil don't really dry. So get some supplies, fabric paints, acrylics, and all those other stuff, and get them. Now on your table you have it's full of supplies that you can actually experiment and play with. Okay. And then number two, actually before we move on to number three, just so you know, this is gonna be based on actually handmade. You're gonna be trying to get things done by hand. You're gonna be trying to get things done yourself. So that is gonna be your best selling point, right? That is your buzzword when you out there selling. Oh, this is handmade. I handmade this myself. I did this myself. That's what they buy. That's what people want to hear from you. People who love art, people who love to support local artists and beginner artists, they love to hear that you actually did this yourself. You actually made this. So when it's handmade, it works, right? So like, for instance, like my aprons is hand painted aprons. My jacket is hand painted. My canvases is hand painted. Everything is me. So when I'm out there and I come across someone who's interested or who show interest, telling them all these stories that this is coming from you, hand painted, and stuff like that, they buy into that. They love that. They love to support. So we are talking about trying to get this done by hands, hand painted. All right. So, and then we're gonna move on to number three. Number three is we're gonna show up in person to sell what we handmade. Number one, we got a studio made. We transform a space in the house into a studio. Number two, we spend a little bit of money to get supplies. And with these supplies, we're gonna turn this studio into an experimental lab. We're gonna get some tote bags, some t-shirts, loose canvas, stretch canvas, small pieces, small bulk pieces, 5 pieces here, 6 pieces here, 7 pieces here, 10 pieces here, and we're gonna experiment. We're just gonna make stuff. At this point, forget all these ideas that you have on your computer that you're thinking about. Just experiment with things, right? And then number three, we're gonna bring these experimentations outside in the street, in person, to farmers market, right there, like adjacent to Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, anywhere, any intersection that stays busy, foot traffic, local art fairs, local street vending fairs, anywhere that people congregate, anywhere that you can find foot traffic, we show up in person. You take advantage of any free pop-ups or any super low-cost pop-ups that's happening in your city, in your town. You show up and bring your hand-painted or handmade art and then be a part of it. So we're going in person. That is the best way to sell art. The best way to sell art and the best way to have people loving you, following you, and not unsubscribing, not unfollowing you is when you get to meet them in person and they know that you actually make these things yourself by hand. So number 3, we're going to show up in person and we're going to sell in person. So we're going to look in our cities, in our towns, anywhere that local crafters, local artists congregate and meet and sell and meet buyers. That's what we want to be a part of, right? Provided it's not super pricey. We're looking for something that's affordable or free, and then we're going to join in. If not, you can show up. Actually, in many states, if you handmade something, if you handmade art, you can actually show up and sell. It is allowed. So look into that. You can do that. You show up in person. And then number 4 is while you're there in person, any person that comes across that you interact and you engage with, what you're gonna do is you're gonna collect the email address. It can either they bought from you, or they show interest but didn't have money, or they just love art. They just love you for your personality, for who you are. You collect email addresses from those people who came or who comes across while you're out there in person. So number 4 is we're gonna collect email addresses while we're outside selling. We're making money, we're meeting people, and we're also collecting email addresses. That is number 4. Number 5, then you're gonna move to social distribution. Everything that you are working on, from your homemade studio to this experimentation to showing up in person, all these projects that we are working on, that we ideating with, that we iterating with, we going to be documenting it, and then we're going to distribute it on our social platforms. So whether you on TikTok, you show it on there. Instagram, you make sure in your stories, you post it in your feed, reel, all that stuff. On your Facebook, if you don't have Facebook for your creative work, you set up a Facebook page for your creative work and just post it. It doesn't hurt. X, TikTok, aka Twitter. Make sure you show up there, post. So post in all those places that you can. If you can sign up on Pinterest, do that, show up, create a page and just post. You want to be seen, you want to be in all these places. So it worked for you. Why do you need to do that? The reason I'm asking you to do that is because number 5, this is gonna work for you, which is Google. When you create all this experimentational work and ideations and all these iterations, when you post it on social media, what happened is Google go after this content, and then it will index them for you all on Google. So in this situation, of course, we are posting for social media, but in the long run, we are posting for Google to index it. And you got to make sure that when you post on social media, your hashtags should be targeted to people searching for pieces like that. Your keywords should be targeted for people searching for your kind of art. So it's about packaging. You have to package your post with hashtags and keywords so they can appear on Google, and Google can index them and show it to people searching for your type of art or your related type of art. And that is why you have to distribute them on social media, and then it's gonna end up on Google. Once it end up on Google, it's on Google for life. But on social media, they disappear. They kind of disappear. But on Google, I do have posts that I made 10 years ago, and if you go to Google right now and you're searching relatable artwork like that, my work still show up. So, but I posted them on IG or maybe on Twitter a long time ago, but they show up on Google now. So these posts What they do is they bring you free clicks, free traffic from Google to your website. That's, for me, that's what it does for me. Just so you know, this video here is sponsored by me, myself, and my studio, Danyaki Art Studio. I hand paint everything from this studio. So you can check out the link below and check out my hand painted aprons. Check out my website. Check out what I'm doing. Hit me on IG if you have any questions as well. Moving on. Number 6 is that Google actually work for you, right? So number 5, you're doing it for Google, but number 6 is Google is here to work for you. A lot of artists don't know that Google actually is working for us. So, like I said, if you actually learn how to target or package your posts on social media with hashtags and keywords, Google is going to be working for you. Google is going to be sending you free traffic from Google to your website. It's going to be sending you free exposure from Google to your website or to wherever you are. Or somebody might click on that post, and that post will bring them to your Instagram, and then in that sense you get a follow right there, right? So Google actually will be working for you. Google has been working for me for a long time, but this came from my personal experience. This came from me actually paying attention to it. It's been 10 years since I started making art and selling, like doing it as business, but I've been doing art longer than that. 10 years ago, I started, and I have no other choice but to just do what I seen local artists in New York City are doing. That was, everybody goes outside on a weekend basis. On Saturday, Sunday, all these artists are outside in the streets selling their craft, selling their art, doing whatever they were doing to make money. And I decided, you know what? I'm out of school. I'm not making money. Credit card up the ceiling. I need to find a way to get out of it. And I did exactly what I just told you. I set up a homemade art studio. I had a bunch of supplies left from school. Just being there, I just left school, so I had a bunch of supplies, and then I set them up, and I bought a few more, and then just started experimenting on the t-shirts, on the tote bags, on loose canvases, on stretch canvases, on the hoodies and the jackets even came later, and all these other stuff. But I was just experimenting. I just want to bring something that look artsy outside, just like I seen these guys doing here in New York City. So I did just that. And slowly but surely, actually, my first day out, I made how much? I made $110 on my first day out. It was a Saturday. That was the first time I stepped out to try my luck, and I made $110. I came home and saying, and you know what? I think this can work. I think this can work. Besides the fact that I sold $110, the compliments, the comments, the people that stopping by, talking, and I kind of like that vibe too. I was like, you know what? I can't wait to go back out there again. And I went back the next day, Sunday, and then I made some money, and then I got hooked. So I haven't stopped ever since. It's been 10 years. I've been going and going and going and going. So I'm telling you, man, if you're a beginner artist and you want to get started, I'm putting the battery on your back, and I'm telling you, look around your city, look around your town. Find where people who create art, people who create crafts, makers and artists congregate and sell or do business. You go talk to some of these guys, get some information. You want to step in looking for a place where you don't have to be spending money. You want to get in where it's free or where it's super, super, super cheap to get started, and then start selling in person. Selling in person doesn't stop you from selling online. Selling in person does not stop you from having an Instagram page and posting there. But posting on Instagram alone and just going to sleep and calling yourself an artist, if it doesn't work, then you are doomed. So this is an hybrid approach. It's a hybrid approach. So we combining it online, social media, website, all this stuff with in person, and then we mesh them in two, and we're gonna work it out to the gel. And once you have this both online and in person gel and they start working, you will never be broke again. You will never struggle as an artist again, because what's gonna happen is you're gonna build a brand and a personal brand in person, in the streets, while online you're also doing the same thing. So you're gonna catch your local people. You're gonna be known for doing local artists, and you're also gonna be catching people who like are visiting from out of country or out of town and stuff like that. While online, you're also gonna be catching your online people. So you need both. You need both. You can't just have a social page and online presence, but you don't have any in-person presence. So the reason I am pushing you to go in this direction is that, think about it. The galleries, how do they sell art? Everybody trying to get into the galleries. Oh, like bunch of artists trying to get into galleries. But how do galleries sell art? Galleries sell art in person. Like here in New York City, if you go to Chelsea, it's like 10 radius block full of galleries. And when you go in there, it's physical art with people sitting there waiting for potential people to come in and talk to them and figure it out and make sales. Galleries sell art in person. Every couple of months, there will be an art fair here in New York City, all in person. People from galleries, after galleries and agents and you name them, they all organize these shows, and they will bring these beautiful art pieces out and set them up, send out a bunch of email and get people to come out to check out these art and buy them and look at them and get them to get to sell these art in person. If you have to go to museum, how do they operate? When you go over there, it's in person. Yes, it doesn't negate the fact that they have a social media presence. Yeah, they do have it, but you like just sit down and think about it. Auctions, it's in person, right? Everything, it is the best way to sell art. The best way to sell art is in person. If you take in person out of my business as an artist, you probably will pull me out of business. My website is doing great, but I would not want to depend on my website alone. I would love to depend on my in person. If you take my website out, I will survive. But if you take my in person out, I will not survive. I tell you that much. So in person is the same way. Like if you take in person out for galleries, they will never survive. Galleries will never make money if they just have to just create their web pages and just online presence and just trying to sell off that. It will not happen. Yes, we do have few that are known for just having a presence online and online only and stuff like that. But on a majority scale, in person is how you sell art. So you have to just change that mindset, let that sink in, and start looking into places where you can sell art in person, in your town, in your city, however you can do it. Also, with the addition of your online presence, you need both. Now, as a beginner, what I'm telling you to do is you're doing this minus the fact that you're coming up with a name or a label or brand for your art. At this moment, all this doesn't really matter yet. You just want to create a presence in the street, a presence online, trying to find out what's working, what's gonna work, what is selling, what's gonna sell. Once we figured it out, oh, this a tote bag is moving, this t-shirt is moving, this loose canvas or this style is what seems to be working. A loose canvas can be an amazing landmark in your city, in your town, that you can just create on the loose canvas and just you bring it out on the weekend. If people seem to like that landmark in your city and if they start buying it over and over and over, then you know that you have a home run. Then you turn that home run, that landmark from your city. It can be a building, it can be intersection, it can be a monument, it can be anything that that's landmark from your town or your city. So like here in New York City, people will create like a Times Square. If you come to Harlem, people will create like Apollo Theater. There's the intersection of Malcolm X Boulevard and Martin Luther King Boulevard, where people create this kind of pieces based on that. So look around your town. If you look into ideas and stuff like that, you can come up with a landmark. Look for a landmark around your town, around your city, and create that on a loose canvas or stretched canvases. In New York, there's like a bunch of landmarks. So people do a whole bunch of different landmarks, and then you find out, you streamline to find out which one people are gravitating towards more and which one people are actually buying more. Once that works, now you have a home run. You're gonna run that home run till the wheels fall off. That's how you stay in business as an artist. So just a simple imagine this. In New York City, when tourists come to the city, there's this T-shirt that everybody and their mama buy. Excuse me. That says, "I love New York." This "I love New York" is a home run for just people just selling souvenirs in New York City. Everybody and their mama buys "I love New York." That's a home run. It's been a home run for decades. It's gonna be here forever. So as an artist, we are looking for our home run, but we have to experiment. We experiment with landmarks. We experiment with our loose ideas. We experiment with things that we see, everyday ideas, everyday concept that we see that we can improve on. Because we're an artist, we can. Oh, this is it's too muted. We can make it more colorful. We can make it more dramatic. Let's do that. So we add into it. If that takes off, you have a home run. Once you have 1 or 2 or 3 home runs, now it's time to incorporate your label on top of those home runs. So now you can put your label. If you want to put like a Steven Studios or Steven Clothing or Steven Art, whatever you want to do it, and then you create those labels. Now you have a label. Now that label becomes stevensart.com. You go get your domains and set up. Now you have a website where you upload your home runs in your website. You start pushing those home runs, and then later on, as it becomes a business, if you want to incorporate some kind of a social media ad and all this stuff, because now you have a product. But in the beginning, we want to start making money, and what we want to do is we want to experiment and see what's working. But we will never get there unless, number one, we set up a homemade studio. Number two, we spend some money, get few supplies, experiment. Number two. Number three, we show up in person. Find out around your city, your town, where artists, craft makers, creators congregate and sell in the street, in the building, in the hall, anywhere that you just find out, get that information. If it's free, you in there all day. So if you work Monday to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, when you off, you're not working, 7 days a week, you show up and go sell your art. Create, you show up and go sell. So that's number three. We're showing up in person to sell, because that's how you sell art. From the galleries, from the auctions, and all this traditionally, that's how we sell art in person. So that should be your mindset. Number four, while we there selling art in person, we are also building our email list. So we're gonna start collecting email addresses, and I do have a video on an email that how to get your first 100 emails. Look it up, go check it out. I gave you all the information. Look it up, and just use it. It's there. Just use it. So we want to collect our email addresses while we're outside selling in person. And then number four, of course, we're gonna distribute our content, our experimentations, our mess. We're gonna distribute them on all the social platforms that we can, as many as you can. Just you need your presence out there. And we're doing that because we want Google to index them for us. So we posting for Google. And then last but not least, Google is going to work for us, right? Google is going to work for us. It's going to send us traffic on our website. Let's say later on down the line when you find out what your home runs are, and then you incorporate your labels. Now they become a brand. Now they become a real brand label. Now that you have your website, and now that it's officially a business, now that it's officially, you're not just an artist who's just out there hustling, making money. Now it's a real business. Now that it's a real business, we want Google to send us traffic on a website, or people will click on it and they will bring them to our social media and they will give us a follow, and then they will go to our profile, click on the link, and then the link will take them to a website, and then now we're in business. So that's how you start from scratch. So make 2026 a year to start from scratch, to get your art business started, and do exactly just like I told you, and you will succeed. You will never starve. You will never struggle. You will stay in business. This is how you stay in business as a beginner artist. This is what I did. I've been doing it for 10 years. Doing this got me in collaboration with Pepsi, HBO, MasterCard, Facebook, Uber. I've done work for Oprah, Forbes magazine, Bon Appetit magazine, Food and Wine magazine. In New York City, I've been on TV, local newspaper, local magazines, live TV, live mural, all of that. All came from just doing exactly what I told you. So no more talking. Hit the link below and check out what I'm working with. Support my hand painted aprons. And I'll see you on the next one. Salute. Peace. One.